Hey y'all, so this one isn't gonna be one of those cute videos. Y'all, I just came in from the grocery store and I'm unloading my car. Now my neighbor that lives upstairs, literally like right over me, is outside working on his car. So y'all, I'm not used to nobody like helping me or anything, like bring my stuff in the house. I always just do it on my own. I've been doing it for so long, it's just second nature to me. But to see a man outside, y'all, I went up and down my steps probably like 4 to 5 times. Not once did this man look up, say, hey, do you need any help? No, nothing. And y'all be wondering why women are so alpha or so masculine and macho. And it's because majority of the time we have to be. Even when it comes to strangers, y'all don't even lend a hand to help. Even though I probably would have been like, no, don't stop doing what you're doing. You know, keep working on your car or whatever. To offer means everything to us as women. Like, we want to know that men still care about us. And y'all, I know like I'm not his type of girl. Like he's not black, period. I'm not gonna put out like what he is. He's not black. So I know I'm not his type of girl, but it's not even about being that type of person. If I see somebody in the store and they drop something, I'm gonna immediately reach to help them in any type of way, even though, you know, they might be able to do it, but just to see somebody else willing to help, I'm pretty sure that means a lot to the other person, because I know when people do it to me, I'm like, oh my God, like they was willing to help. But it's so foreign that it feels so good, honestly, when people do it. You're like, oh gosh, like people are still like kind and human. Man, if y'all want women to be any better, help out any woman. I don't care if she's your woman or not. Be kind to us. Like, most of us are honestly going to turn it down. And some of us are going to actually take the help, just depending on what's going on. But to just sit and watch a woman struggle, or to just even have to do so much, like as a man, does it not make you feel any type of way? Like, I don't know, help me understand, because that was just so weird. And he probably looked up when my back was turned, I don't know, but you didn't look up not one time. You seen me come back and forth to my car. Y'all, I picked up a 24 case of water, a 40 case of Capri Suns, and a 24 case of body armor. I had this big tote full of groceries, a smaller tote with this, and then I had this in my hand as well. Not once did this man offer to help at all. Like, I am so like blown away, but I'm a little annoyed and frustrated because men complain so much about how women are just so macho and we so alpha and we don't want to let nobody help us. But y'all don't want to help us. Y'all don't want to help us. And that's why y'all get what y'all get. And then the guys that actually want to help us, y'all want to call them simps. But what? I don't know. It don't make no sense. For any man that comes across this video, it costs you nothing to be kind to a woman, whether she's your woman or not. Extend the lending hand. We're all here to help each other, and women need men just like men need women. That's it.
I feel like I've said this in one of my other videos. These modern women continue to talk about the male loneliness epidemic, but then they try to give men orders and they don't know what they're doing. First, they want to be strong and independent, and then all of a sudden, why is a man not helping me? Well, you said that you wanted to be strong and independent, so what do you want to do? Well, I don't want to be strong and independent right now. You should know what I want to be, and you should be able to see that. No, I'm not going to play these guessing games. I'm going to keep on working on my car. You have a good day.
Some men really don't approach women anymore because of social media, and they know that they might be able to find you online, or find women that look like you online, so they never feel like they're at a loss, because all they have to do is go on social media and DM a few people and they have motion. And that's sad, because back in the day, if you saw a woman, you better go say something to her, because you don't know, like, you didn't know if you were gonna ever see her again. You know what I'm saying? Like, nowadays, nah, some men don't feel that way. They feel like, I will see you again, I will find you. And they don't approach.
Men still say this, but women continue to say they don't want a man to approach them. Men keep on saying, well, what if I don't know if I'm ever going to see you again. Women still say, don't approach.
We need to bring back our men, and don't come at me, ladies, and whoever wants to come at me for that. I mean that wholeheartedly. Testosterone levels have gone down 1% every single year since the 1980s, and that is not normal. That is not okay. We should be concerned about that. So to put that into perspective for people, the average 35-year-old male today has the testosterone levels of a 65-year-old male in the 1990s. You can think environment, you can think diet, you can think lifestyle, you can think pills, you can think a slew of things for that. You can think plastic. But the point is, we need to turn that around and reverse that and bring back our men.
This is what happened, guys. When you decide to go stay with your baby daddy, you decide to go and start with your baby daddy, you decide to be interested in your baby daddy. This is what you get involved with. This is what you get to do. You get to pick up all your shit. You get to go live back with them again. That's where this is. How do you like that? Yep. You have fun with that. You got a lot to take care of.
I think they're saying that there were some women in the comments dogging him for being in a trailer. And a woman was like, people saying it's a trailer, it's his, and it's probably paid for. In this economy, that's a flex. Not to mention, she's out there messing around on him. Why don't we keep the main thing the main thing?
Men and women are not raised to be compatible in this society, and this is for a lot of reasons. From the beginning of time, love has always been about control. I need to put love in quotations because it's not real, okay? It's always been about control. It's never been about two people coming together because they're so in love. It was a matter of, I'm a man, I have property. If you want to have property and if you want food or resources, you have to pick me. That's where this love started. Modern love, as we know it, came from the diamond industry post World War I and World War II, okay? They said, oh, look, the women are getting more independent. They are getting more resources. We need to bring them back in the house and sell them another dream. So that's what happened with the diamond industry. And from that, we get a lot of these manipulation tactics from men about love. This is the modern joke of love that we are seeing right now. And men and women have never been compatible enough to make this little love dream happen. Sure, it is rare when people come in my comments and they're like, but this happened and it is so rare that it's so stupid to sell this dream to every single woman on this planet. It's so rare, okay? Even the people that we see that are together for 30, 40, 50 years, we do not know what actually went on behind closed doors. So I don't really want to hear it about they were so in love, because half the time, maybe even more, three-fourths of the time, right? It wasn't actually love either. It was about two people who settled for each other and had to work through the hard times. Did they have to? They didn't, okay? But it's this fake idea of love that you have to deal with all the bad things together, then you get out on top in the end. No, you don't. It's literally a fight. It's always been a fight. This modern idea of love that men like to use as a carrot on a stick is just to get, okay? It is just to get. They will sell a dream just to get. It is that simple. Men are not monogamous. They do not care about being with one woman and ending it there, okay? They don't care. We need to face that reality. They tell us all the time that they're not monogamous, okay? They cheat all the time, okay? Women aren't divorcing at these rates because love is real, okay? Women are divorcing at these rates because they're realizing, oh, I don't actually need to stick it out with you. I actually can get my own resources. And I would rather do that than play this little dumb game of love with you. Married men are single men, okay? All of them are single. They go out and they still act single. It is a lie. It is a delusion, okay? Created by men to control women. It always has been and it always will be.
You guys don't really know what love is. You don't understand the concept of it. Love to a lot of these women out here is giving me stuff, making sure that I'm comfortable, making sure that everything that I need is taken care of, putting me as the main priority in the center of your life, and walking this tightrope of do what I say, or whenever I don't want you to do what I say, take initiative in those points. Just, I want you to know what I'm thinking at all times. That's love. Love is observing me and knowing exactly what I want, because a real person would be in my skin. A person that loves me through and through would be in my skin, in my brain, knowing exactly what it is that I want. You guys are not great at communication. Not at all. Not even a little bit. You guys are not emotionally intelligent. You guys are not emotionally vulnerable. You just talk, similar to what you did here. You just came up with some type of topic similar to what you did here, and you just talked about it. Stream of consciousness. None of that actually is what it is actually going on. Y'all sit up here and go through these relationships that y'all have done and put on yourself. As a matter of fact, let me give you the argument that these men are dogging you out. Let me give that to you. Because you say most of the men, 80-90% of the men, are not attractive to you, but you give them a chance and they go ahead and dog you out. After a certain period of time, why is it that you continue to run into that man that continues to dog you out? Then you look at your friend and you're like, oh man, she has the love that I wanted. How did you do that? And she tells you, and you go right back and continue to do the same thing. Why? Because you don't listen. You do what you want to do. You sit up in your room and complain. You're right back there on your whiteboard about nonsense. And then you get back on here and tell us what you wrote down, which is nonsense. And then everybody gets in the comments. Excuse me. Some women get in the comments and they talk about, oh yeah, this is so true. I know because my stomach growled today. Oh yeah, I know this is true because my dog bit me on the foot, confirming it. Type of foolishness. You guys got to get help, and get help fast.
And to the it can never be me girlies, it can never be me, it can never be me. How are you today? Because I too, it could never be me. I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to be funny. I think sometimes it's hard for people to grasp that things don't just happen to people, you guys. Most times things don't just happen. Decisions are being made. Actions are being executed. People don't just end up in crazy situations. They just don't. And I think that's the part of the story that people don't like. They don't want to have to admit that part, that they like to treat life like an animation, like a cartoon. Like you just walked outside and Bugs Bunny just hopped out with, it's like, no, in real actual life, people be in the situation they be in because they have made a series of decisions that led to the outcome. And that's okay, because you can make different decisions and get different outcomes.
I just want to make sure we getting there, Right.
Excuse me, Auntie.
Yes.
I got a question.
Okay.
So, me and my girlfriend went out for girls' night, and her husband did not like the shorts that she wore. He told her not to wear those shorts. And I was like, well, they're cute. I thought they was cute. And
Nobody care about what you think.
but
That's your husband.
you don't think that sounds a little bit controlling?
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
What did he say about the shorts? He said they were too short.
He said they were a little too short.
Yeah, she had on some booty shorts. She need to take them off, and she need to burn them. She need to get rid of them. I mean, can you imagine going out? Some women don't understand this. When I go out with my husband, and when he looks at me, I want him to say, "Ooh, cute." I don't want him to say, "Ugh, nasty." No, my job is to please him. Just like one time I had to tell my husband, "Listen, I want you to get rid of them granddaddy pants." And I wanted him to throw them away. And guess what? He threw them away. Why? Because he knows he wants to please me. This goes both ways. No, tell her to get rid of them shorts. Okay? Tell him to get rid of them, throw them away, burn them. Don't even give them to a friend.
Tell her we'll send her some matches. Burn them.
Yeah. So and then on top of that, tell her don't go to that store no more.
No more.
Yeah.
So does that mean that going forward, everything he doesn't like, she has to listen to?
I mean,
is that what you're saying?
You don't use that in an abusive way. But come on now, if they're booty shorts and he's telling you, hey, this is inappropriate. Girl, I had 2 pair of shorts when me and my husband was dating. I had a blue and white and an orange and white. And you know what? He was like, I'm not going nowhere with you in them shorts. Man, I took a picture and saw my booty hanging out of it. He was like, I threw them shorts away and told him I'm sorry. I ain't never wore them shorts again, right? Because men are protective and they want you to look good. You're representing your husband when you walk out the door. You're not just not about you. Stop being so selfish. You know, you want to look good for him, right? And you remember this because you're gonna be a wife one day.
I'm gonna remember.
You're gonna get you set up with a husband. You better not ever let me catch you in no booty shorts ever in your whole entire life. Your husband ain't
No booty shorts, Mom.
No booty shorts. I got something for the booty. Oh yes, it's
Let
called.
me see your booty out. I'm gonna pull out a
They got something for that. Yes, that's what they
We gonna
get.
tear you up. You think we playing?
Right.
Okay, we playing.
I'll just stick with dresses then.
Yes, there you go.
I'm gonna keep it short, keep it quick. Ladies, what I love is that we're no longer accepting financial struggle, and we are saying no, he gotta have a little bit of money, a little bit of funds in order to be with him. I get that. I want you to know though, because I'm seeing a number that we keep using and saying he must make at least $100,000 a year. Please understand, 50% of people who make $100,000 a year are still living paycheck to paycheck. So you need to be praying for, looking for, however you want to put it, for somebody who is good with their money, not just somebody who has money. Also pray for generosity, because he could be making money. That don't mean he gonna give it to you. Also, I think it's crazy that you're on a ramen noodle diet, living paycheck to paycheck, making $30,000, talking about you want a man that make $100,000, and you look every bit of struggling and barely making ends meet. So I'm just saying, understand the stats. And if you are looking for somebody who do make $100,000, maybe ask yourself, do you look like somebody who was the lady of a man who makes $100,000 a year? And if you look dusty, baby, you gotta upgrade.
Let me tell y'all something. The number one way to get a man to be putty in your hands is to make him laugh. If you can make him laugh, he's done. He's done for, honestly. Like, that's why my dates, it's really just like an hour of stand-up comedy. And not everybody's cut out for that. I'm an acquired taste, and that's okay. That's okay. I will meet the one that can handle all of this.
I'm sure you've met the one, but you want him to make upwards of $150,000 to $200,000 at least.
People on here are talking about if a guy doesn't find you attractive, he's not nice to you. And I would actually take it a step further and say he actually doesn't even acknowledge your existence. Because at my old job, I was talking to this one guy and I was telling him a story and I was referencing this one girl we worked with. He was like, who? I was like, you know, and I described her and he was literally like, no, I don't know who that is. I've never met that girl, dead set on convincing me he doesn't know this girl. And I was like, well, actually earlier today, I saw you with my own 2 eyes, you having a conversation, a full on conversation with her. And I know for a fact that we've worked several shifts with this girl. So you know her. And that's when I realized oh, he doesn't find her attractive. So she literally doesn't exist in his mind, which is insane.
You don't think that's a little bit of a stretch? He could have been talking to her, but he doesn't know who she is because he's not really there to make any kind of friends. He's just there to work or whatever it is. I've seen dudes talk to other dudes, and when you bring it up, it's like, no, I've never even seen that guy. You were just talking to him. No, I don't even know that guy. Come on now.
I love men because at home you guys are just
we just have hot chocolate and cuddle and watch a movie and just never leave each other's sides and just be so cute all the time.
They're funny little dances that they do and they just have their little weird voice and they're just little silly willies. And then you get them outside, you take them outside, just big dog, stone cold. Just I got this handled, I got all that handled, I got you, I protect you, I'd maybe dab my brother up, whatever, and then that's it. It's just moving through the world, moving through Home Depot, ain't nothing gonna happen.
I get told I'm not a girl's girl because I never believe the woman first. Us women know we have the privilege to say whatever we want because we're a woman. Do you know how many women accuse men of something and somebody just automatically believes it? I don't believe that hell. Tell the other side.
My girl gonna try to say she was at her sister crib, then I come and she over at her baby dad crib. So guess what I did? Took her pills. You got me. She ain't got no more. Now you ain't going nowhere. Look at this shit. Took all 4 of them. Ain't going nowhere now.
A dude in the comments said, Man, homie, you just gave her baby daddy more time with her.
Why did I just leave a gas station and I seen a man just sitting in the passenger seat while his wife or his friend, whoever the fuck was, the point is she was a female and she was pumping gas and he was just sitting in the passenger seat like a passenger princess. Like, I cannot believe that I just witnessed that crime. I literally should have did like a citizen's arrest and arrested him, because what the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with these men in 2025? What is really going on? I want to be treated like girls. Like, what is going on? Not all men, I'm saying some men. Like, that's crazy. How you got your woman pumping gas while you sitting in the passenger seat? Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Are her fingers broken? It's okay to pump the gas, man. God dog.
Random thoughts. When a man refers to his ex-wife or his ex-girlfriend of a long relationship, or the mother of his children, as that or that see you next Tuesday, instant turn off. Because who are you? Who are you? Shouldn't be referring to women as that, especially if you have a child with them and it's a little girl. I hear this from so many guys. Shut the fuck up.
So, MAGA Trucker 2024 says it depends on who she is. I saw what my mom did to my dad and I see why he called her that. I'm divorced and my ex never gave me a reason to call her that. We just grew apart and moved on. Slippery slope. Not saying that I want to condone that, or I do. You just never really know what people are up to and what they're doing.
Guys, I don't know if it's just me, but right now I feel like there's an epidemic for men just hating on women. Like, some of y'all act like you haven't been punched in the face a day in your life. Or you just never been humbled, put in your place. Maybe you just didn't get enough of your mama's hugs when you were little boys, which, if that's the case, that's really sad. I'm sorry. But as soon as a male ego is bruised in some way, or they're just intimidated or threatened or bitter or just angry towards a woman, their first line of defense is just turning around and acting a fool. It's to turn it around and degrade and disrespect and insult the woman. And it's embarrassing. And it's not all men. There's great men out there, okay? So I'm not a man hater. And I have enough of my own baggage and insecurities myself, okay? So I'm not perfect. And I'm saying this from an imperfect place. But I don't feel the need to go out of my way and project all of that onto another person by degrading and defaming their sense of character or who they are as a person. When you do that, it's giving emotional immaturity. It's giving unhealed insecurities. Go to therapy. Heal yourself. Touch some grass, okay? And then come back and we can have a discussion. Okay? Thank you.
So it's the men doing it, huh? It's the men hating.
If you focus on any content on social media, right, super popular, we talk about all the time, what is it that makes women feel good about content that bashes men, right? What is it that is fueling the desire, the engagement, and ultimately the social norm now, right? To talk as much crap as you can, as much as possible, right, about men. A lot of women, if you notice, they live off of that. They feed off of it. It really gets them going. But why? Of course, there's a multitude of reasons, but I wanted to get to a bigger picture. So we're going to start with the easy reasons first so I can save the big one for last. Number one, women, of course, like to hear an echo chamber. You will notice that if you try to disagree with women, the reason why most men just give up on trying to talk to women or let women know the truth, or it doesn't have to be the truth, their opinion or a real truth of a situation, is because they know most women don't have the capacity to hear something they disagree with and be able to continue a conversation like a civil adult. They regress to a childlike state, like a tantrum type quality, right? The other ones, it fuels women's insecurities, right? It's not me. It's everybody else. We're all going through the same thing with men, because you will hear women celebrate mediocrity in any situation. Women like to feel like their life choices are unavoidable and everybody's going through the same thing. And because most women are mediocre and pitiful, then most women are saying, yes, girl, what can we do? Because it's a bunch of mediocrity and pitifulness sitting up together. But I believe my hypothesis on why women really want to hear the content that focuses on bashing men is much worse. Women want things without it requiring anything of them. And unfortunately, women look for situations for why they should have to do and give less. So women like the concept of a relationship, a marriage. They understand that that requires some level of work, sacrifice. They've heard people say don't go to bed angry. Stupid stuff like that. That's just kind of hinting on that it does take work. But why women ultimately want to hear the content bashing men is because it gives them an excuse to not put the maximum effort or do the work that is actually required to maintain these things. Because I can always say, well, it's the men is why I can't reach that level of myself. Because unfortunately, women decide everything off of men. The very women who swear that she's a pick-me, no, the average woman cannot make a decision. They're making the decisions of whether they want to have children, whether you want to go to school, whether you want to work and make money, whether you want to be a competent adult. Their desires are going to be based off of men. So ultimately, women need to hear content bashing men because it allows them, whether they're married, in a relationship, single, regardless of their status, it gives them a justification to give a half effort. It gives them the reason because now I can just say, yeah, right? Because men are terrible. Same thing with parenting. A lot of half mamas. It's a lot of pitiful mamas. But I need to hear this content about how difficult it is to be a mother and how hard it is to raise kids so I can excuse my pitiful effort. All right, take care.
They just don't want to hear it. They just don't want to be bothered with it is really what it is. When you have a woman that has been hyped up by her friends, her family sometimes, and hyped up by herself, that normal level of confidence turns into conceitedness. And when you're conceited and you're all focused on yourself and it's all about you, you're self-absorbed, then you really can't tell that person anything. There's no way that you can protect and provide for that person. There's no way that anybody would want to. You continue just because you have an education. Well, I've got a PhD. Well, I've got a master's degree. I've got a bachelor's degree. I got an associate's degree. So I know all there is to know about anything and everything. Nobody can tell you anything. So essentially what you're doing is floating out on an island. And even when somebody says, hey, you're way too far out there, come back in a little bit, then all of a sudden you have a problem. You don't want to be corrected. You don't want anybody to say anything to you. You don't want anybody even suggesting that you don't know where you're going. That's weird because women act like this. They get upset when men say, hey, you don't know where you're going, but then turn around and say, you can't tell a man nothing. If you tell him how to do things, then he ain't gonna listen to you. Huh. I guess if that's the case, then it makes two of us.
Okay, so what about Philly Man? So after our third date, which was the last video I posted, we both agreed to take some time and think about, the whole social media thing. Because I basically was like, I'm not changing what I'm doing for someone. Like, this is what I do. So you either can hang with it or you can't. And I totally respect if you can't. And we just had a great conversation about thinking about it. And then I didn't hear from him. And I thought that was that. And I honestly didn't notice because I have done a lot of work on myself as a recovering anxious attachment to not get excited about people unnecessarily. Like, I went on 3 dates with this person, and while I believe from what I've experienced so far, they're a good person, but I don't know them yet. There's no relationship to mourn of not hearing back from someone. And that's something that I am actually very proud about, is the detachment that I have with that, because it's not appropriate to get all jazzed about someone that you don't know. So I didn't even notice, honestly. There were a couple moments where I was like, oh yeah, that happened and I never heard back, but I wasn't upset about it. So simultaneously, I was en route to a conference at my church, just busy. And I get this long text from him, and I'm obviously not going to read it, but the summary, it was really nice. The summary was, I did a lot of thinking in order to really understand. I watched some of your content about me. And just a really nice, respectful message about how he appreciated what I do and thought it was respectful the way that I shared information without like giving away privacy, and agreeing with me that I should never have to run my content through a man or my partner to get approval. And I think he asked me out again. And I was busy. So he took like, I don't even remember the time, but like a week and a half to text me. And I'm the type of person that like, I can't send you a really thoughtful message if I'm busy. And I thought that required a very like this was a multiple paragraph text that he sent me, and I wanted to respect that he like put a lot of thought into this, and so, you know, craft him a good response because that's what it deserved. But I was not in the mental space in order to do that. I was busy. Like, this conference that I went to was nonstop. So I took like a week to respond to him. And all of that was about like a week or 2 weeks ago, and I haven't heard back. And what I said back to him was like, thank you for your message. I appreciate it. Like, just appreciating him for like doing the due diligence and respecting what I do. And then saying I'd love to get together. So haven't heard back. I don't know if I expect to, and I wouldn't be like crushed if I didn't, but that's the update.
I'm sorry I have to do this. No, I'm not. No one is too busy to respond to a text. Taking a week to respond back, especially when he put all that effort in, is just not okay. Men want to feel wanted too. Girl, you've now switched to an avoided attachment. Why take a week? How hard is it to say I appreciate such a thoughtful message? I am at a conference right now and want to give it the attention it deserves when I'm free. That took me 5 seconds to write. Your communication is terrible. Being silent for a whole week is borderline disrespectful. Also, taking a week to respond feels like a game. You could have responded when you read it and let him know that you are extremely busy and will respond appropriately when you have time to give it the attention it deserved. He dodged a bullet, honestly. Yeah, take a week to respond and then wondering why he hasn't responded is an odd take. Girl, I'm tired. Oh man. And they tell us that they have, mind you, by the way, these are women saying this. And they tell us that men have the problem communicating. Men have the problem with emotional intelligence. Okay.
I went on a Hinge date 2 nights ago and he left me at the bar. And maybe I deserved it. But we started off at dinner and I was really, really hungry. And I felt like he under-ordered for the table. I did say you could order whatever you want because I like everything here at this restaurant. And he ordered 3 little things. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And he was like, well, we can get more at the smoke shop around the corner because we were going to this like old dive around the corner after this. That was at least the plan.
So basically not trying to do too much, but apparently you have a problem with that. So continue going.
And when he walked in, he was so loud. He was the loudest talker. I cannot explain to you how loud he was. His voice boomed, and this is the restaurant where it's like a two-top, a two-top, a two-top, a two-top, and there's only like 10 to like, it's a restaurant that serves like maybe 20 people, and everyone's really close to each other, and he was talking so loud the whole time. Additionally, he dismissed a lot of what I had to say, and when I said, well, you're just kind of dismissing me, he said, well, it's just not that deep.
Well, talking loudly is very annoying, but that is the way some people are. I would also ask exactly what he's dismissing because we don't want to continue to validate every single feeling because that feeling might be wrong.
And I was like, that's dismissive. Anyway, I'm trying to be a good sport. I'm trying to be cool. I'm trying to be cool with it. We go around the corner to the next spot eventually. And he said, do you want to sit at the bar or do you want to sit at a table? I said, well, I said, you choose. I'm easy. We can choose wherever you want. And it's a bar with a center bar. So it like is like a U-shaped bar where people like face each other. And he was like, let's sit at the bar. There's 2 seats over there. I was like, okay. And to me, see, and I told him this up front, I'm a yapper. I talk a lot. Like that's my It's just something about me. And so he wants to sit at the bar. We go sit at the bar, and I'm sitting next to another guy, and my date is on one side, and then me, and then another guy. And the guy I sit next to, I'm like getting in next to my chair, and I'm saying, oh, hi, like, excuse me. He's like, oh, no problem. So I'm sitting next to him, and he has a full head of silver hair. And all I said was, I like your gray hair. And he was like, oh, thank you. He said, I still get carded despite having gray hair. I said, well, you have a young face, so maybe you're like really young with gray hair. And I could just tell that my date hated that I talked to him.
So he talks loud and you're a yapper. So seems like you guys have something that you probably don't like. You don't like him talking too loud and invalidating your feelings, as you call it. But then you talk too much, and then you're just talking and complimenting somebody else on your date. So
I could tell my date hated that I talked to him. But to me, if like you're sitting at a bar, you're like meant to talk with all the people around you. That's like one of the things about sitting at a bar with other people. Or he could have chosen for us to sit at a table if he didn't want us to talk to anybody else.
Well, he wasn't thinking that while you're on a date, you're going to be talking to other guys. If he would have done that to a woman, then most women would have had a problem with that. So more invalidating his feelings, like you said he was doing to you.
And so I look at my date. I said, oh, you don't have any gray at all, like not even in your beard. Just an observation, not a criticism, right? And he says, oh, yeah, no one believes that I'm in my late 40s because I don't have any gray hair. Now, mind you, he is completely thinning right here. This, thin. He said, no one believes I'm in my late 40s. I thought, oh, I definitely believe you're in your, okay. And he said, I have this theory that I don't have any gray hair because of my low stress lifestyle. I've learned to manage my stress. Keep in mind, he's talking so loud. I've learned to manage my stress. I've learned to regulate my nervous system. I always look at the positive in life. And, you know, I have this friend who's a Buddhist high priest who has taught me that, you know, you pick your battles carefully. And like, I'm summarizing what he said. And he's like basically saying that it's because he's got life figured out that he doesn't have any gray hair.
Well, other people do yoga and other things to obtain lower stress levels. Maybe you should ask questions about it to learn more about him instead of once again trying to invalidate his feelings and what he does.
And this guy on the other side of me is listening to this with all of his gray hair and says, so you think it's like your positive attitude? And he's like, yeah, I do. And it's like, oh my God. And I wanted to like tell the guy with gray hair, like, hey, I don't know him.
Mind you, she's on a date with this guy, and she, by talking to the other guy, has invited him into the conversation with both of them. And now they're both subconsciously making fun of the man that is paying for your food. Looks like you're the jerk so far.
I just met him like an hour ago. And he was like, yeah, I guess it's possible. I mean, I'm a realist, so like that could be the reason for my gray hair. I'm now in the middle. And I said, I just think it's genetics. I think it's mostly genetics. I think it's genetics.
So you confirmed invalidating his feelings, positioning yourself as so smart while sitting in a tree. You're sitting in plants. Are you crazy?
And he was like, I don't really know about that. Anyway, now I'm maintaining small talk between the two men. And they're talking to each other too a bit, but I can tell that my date is irritated that I am talking to gray hair. And gray hair is telling me, like, he's just nice. He doesn't bring his, there's a hummingbird. He doesn't bring his phone out with him when he goes out because he likes to bring a sketchbook. He sketches people. He's just interesting.
Right, because let's remember when you complimented him at the beginning of y'all's date that y'all were supposed to be together in, you invited him into the conversation. So now he thinks that he can just insert himself anywhere in the date.
He's interesting. He also talks at a normal volume. He also asked me questions, which my date struggled to do. My date is definitely the smartest person in the room. He knows more than all of us. He's better than all of us. He's got life figured out when the rest of us don't. He thinks I'm too woke. My leftist politics are a trend. And I was fucking over him. But he, in the middle, like, I hadn't even finished my beer, let alone, like, I wanted more food, but I hadn't even finished my beer. And he tells the bartender, I need to cash out. And so the bartender brings his bill, he cashes out, and he gets up. And I was like, do you want me to walk you out? And he goes, no. And I was like, okay. And so he leaves. And I was like, well, I'm going to stay here and finish my beer. He's like, sure, fine. And I sit down and I sit next to Gray Hair. I was like, just so you know, that was a first date. There will not be a second. And that was a bad date. And he was like, oh, you didn't know him? I said, no. And he said, oh, yeah, like that makes more sense. I said, yeah. And he goes, and then he and I got to talking, and we've made tentative plans to go to bingo at my local dive down the street from me this week. We'll see if it works out, and we'll see if it plays out. But I'm trying.
He don't care. I mean, y'all can plan all of the bingo, chess, checkers, go-kart racing. It don't matter. Sooner or later, your attitude is going to pop back up. Even if you want to give that man 60, 70% of the blame for being a jerk, you need to give yourself some of the blame. And what's going to happen is your attitude is going to pop back up, and that man's going to see it, and he's going to see what I know so much. Oh, he just left me in the middle of the date. Oh, he don't ask no questions. He invalidates my feelings. He gonna see what he was talking about.